Acting is a serious business. You are your character, and vice versa. The more you implement yourself into the character, the more natural it looks. Today, we'll be looking at a few moments where actors went off script and improvised in movie scenes. Be ready to be surprised. Let's begin the video. As the saying goes, the more unique, the better. After the Godfather is threatened with his life as it flashes before his eyes, one of his lieutenants is tasked with taking out one of the underlings responsible, but not before picking up some cannoli on the way. The famous remark was coined by actor Richard Castellano. Leave the gun. Take the cannoli. Speaking of iconic, one of the most iconic and fear-inducing movies about the ocean was, of course, Jaws. In order to cut down the production costs, a smaller boat was used as one of the support boats. When something went wrong on shooting, the cast and crew would quip, "You're gonna need a bigger boat." It was rewritten into the screenplay at the moment where they first encountered the shark, and it became an iconic sentence that we all still use today. Who doesn't love Marvel and its sudden shifts from the serious to the comedian spectrum? Captain America and Thor engage in some impromptu pleasant conversation during the Wakanda combat sequence. Chris Hemsworth tells Chris Evans, "Noticed you've imitated my beard." And that is exactly why we adore these men so much. Willy Wonka was never simple in any way. Do you recall when the enigmatic Candyman first appeared to us? The manner in which Wilder introduced himself was never intended. In actuality, Wilder came up with the entire plan for Willy Wonka's grand entrance, including the cane, the fake limp, and the eventual somersault. Why? Because after that point, nobody will be able to tell whether I'm telling the truth or lying, he said. Alright, let's talk about Fight Club. And yes, I admit I'm breaking the first rule about the club. Never talk about it. But after digging up this find, how could I not? Edward Norton, the movie's star, claimed that his first attempt to punch Brad Pitt didn't exactly go as planned. Edward Norton initially intended to strike Brad on his shoulder when he was instructed to do so, but instead struck him lightly under the ear. That response? Yes, that is completely true, and it did hurt him. Waxing is something even the manliest men are scared of. When you put a legend like Steve Carell through the test, things are bound to be funny. During this scene in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, the entirety of the waxing cut is unscripted. His reactions are from his heart and his screaming soul, because that hurt like the dickens. The fact that this is unscripted shows us that this guy is the same as any character he plays in real life. Let's not deny that Julia Roberts was beautiful in Pretty Woman, but what is truly amazing is the joke that Richard Gere pulled on her while they were filming. Richard was instructed by the director to wake her up a little by slamming the box shut as soon as she reached for it, as a joke. I'd say it was a success. In Dumb and Dumber, you probably recall the scene in the car with the hitman where Lloyd and Harry irritate him to the point of rage. Peter Farrelly, the director, claims that 15% of the film was actually improvised or altered before filming, including Jim Carrey allegedly making the most annoying sound in the world. I bet you didn't see this one coming. Hands down, one of the most iconic two words in all of Hollywood, and amazingly enough, they were not part of a script at all. The actor chose to improvise the lines while filming as an homage to The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson's opening monologue. We all watched and loved The Goonies, didn't we? I know I did. And if your favorite character was Chunk, then I have news for you. Remember the stupid yet funny Truffle Shuffle? That was an improvised move, all thanks to the unprogrammed and creative mind of a child, Jeff Cohen in this case. He made a face, pulled up his shirt, and began doing the famous Truffle Shuffle, which perfectly encapsulated kids being kids. The bleacher scene from The Princess Diaries is just so full of character and genuine emotion, and that's because it actually happened. While filming, the director thought it was too funny to be cut from the final product, and that way, Anne Hathaway's fall was not in vain. Emil Ardolino noticed Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze's unscheduled rehearsal when they took to the dance floor for yet another warm-up exercise. They were having so much fun. They started crawling entirely improvised, and it felt so natural that it made the final cut. When you see everyone laugh at once, the lineup scene from The Usual Suspects might seem a little random, wouldn't you think? They couldn't control their laughter because one of them kept farting while the video was being recorded. Talk about gross and amusing. I mean, come on, it's flatulence. You know? It could never not be funny. We're all men here. Come on. The movie that probably inspired millions like myself, Rocky, starring Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. John Avildsen, the director, was unable to have a closed set because of the limited funding for this movie. This indicates that the street Rocky was running down in the movie was a public one. This implies that the individual who threw the orange his way did so completely at random. Ever gotten drunk? Well, only your sober friends and God know what you do when you are. This time, Kristen Wiig was fortunate in that she didn't have to be concerned about that during her famous bridesmaid scene. The Hollywood comedienne was so adept at portraying inebriation that the entire scene was left up to her improvisation. Before Infinity War, Chris Hemsworth was still going about his usual funny, off-the-script shenanigans. Here we see him in his element as he hangs Mjolnir on a coat hanger as soon as Thor walks into the apartment. Hemsworth was merely trying to be funny, but the director, Alan Taylor, kept the improv because it was just so good. During this iconic phone booth scene in Rain Man, unintentionally, Dustin Hoffman passed some gas. But he and Tom Cruise both agreed to it, making it a component of the scene, and it was so effective. This information has made it impossible for me to watch this scene without laughing. During the production of The Wolf of Wall Street, Matthew McConaughey used chest bashing as a calming technique prior to takes. In any case, DiCaprio suggested using it in the scene, and Scorsese loved it because it suited their on-screen personalities so well. The ideal instrument to bring to an audition might not sound like a plastic cup, but what about Anna Kendrick? We all know how that tale ends though. The actress actually came up with the concept while surfing the web, and it was incorporated into the script for the film. We saved the best for last. During the table scene in Django Unchained, DiCaprio actually busted his hand when he slammed the desk. That blood is actually his real blood, and that added a lot more drama and seriousness to the scene. Although he bled profusely, the legend showed us why he is the best at what he does, and didn't break character. Alright, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Comment down below if we missed any unscripted movie scenes, and do smash that like button if you liked today's video. Consider subscribing as we will be making more videos like this in the future. And until next time, thanks for watching, and take care.